Hi, this is Sherry Hayes with MomDelights.com. I'm the mom of 15 children. I've been homeschooling for like 30 years. And I've been talking a lot lately about the Charlotte Mason method and about how you can simplify it for your real world, where you have real children that kind of get, antsy and maybe don't like to pay attention, or maybe aren't reading by the time they're 6. And you'd like to take Charlotte Mason and take that and open up the world of education and set you free in a lot of areas. So what I'd like to do right now today is talk specifically about Charlotte Mason's idea about nature learning, spending time in nature, enjoying nature together, doing a nature notebook. So I think that's kind of interesting that lately taking children out into nature and teaching them has gained some popularity. There's actually a Norwegian movement, and it's called, I'm going to try to pronounce it, Friluftsliv, and it is like taking your children out into nature and teach them all about that. Well, we've been doing this for a long time in our family, and today I'd like to show you some ways you can do this practically with your children, and you don't have to spend a lot of money, and you don't even have to spend a lot of time in order to do it. So first of all, I'd like to talk to mommies who have a lot of little kids and maybe some babies. And I want to tell you that if you can get your children out to play outdoors for, at least an hour every day, even in the wintertime, everyone's going to benefit, even you. And you can bundle up the little baby and take it out and walk. If you can, if you're not having morning sickness or something like that. Don't feel guilty though if you're in a season where you don't get out as much. There will be a season where you can get out more and you and your children can enjoy outdoors. Now, when we're talking about nature notebooking, that's part of Charlotte Mason's idea of getting out in the nature, observing what kind of weather there is, what types of birds they see, what types of plant life, what types of animals they observe. These are all part of the natural part of learning. It enthuses children. It gets them interested. It gets them excited. Kids are excited about God's creation. One of our sons, when he was a younger boy, he loved bugs. Bugs are like his favorite thing. He loved moths. He loved butterflies. He loved all kinds of little creatures. So we live in a suburban area, but we have marshes interspersed in the different parts of our neighborhood. So he would go out during the day and spend an hour or two just laying down by these marshes and watching these little creatures and their habits. And it was so exciting. And then when we would catch a praying mantis or a moth or any type of thing, then he would take time and he would look it up in one of our nature guides, and he would draw it and he would write about it. He studied Jean Henry Faber, okay? He was a naturalist who was also a Christian man, and he loved bugs and he loved chemistry and he loved teaching children. So studying about his life, studying and reading some of his writings was very interesting. So when we were doing this, we were pulling all kinds of things in. Language, arts, science, everything was coming into play. So nature study is very important for children. So I want to show you a few practical things. I want to be kind of visual this time and give you some visual aids. Okay, so I think first of all I want to talk about using nature guides. Here's this one we got, I think, at like a Barnes and Noble. It was one in the bargain books area. This is a bird's guide. Here are a few golden books that are older that we got at thrift stores. You can also find these often at library book sales and garage sales. You can buy, this one is really, really neat. I'll show you the insides. It has the different trees and leaves and things like that. What's fun is to find a tree and to look up the leaves and see if in different times of the year they look differently too. Like in the spring, you might have seed pods that you find, like the maple ones that do the helicopter. Here's another neat guide. It's another golden book one. If you can find these older ones, these are really great. I think they may make them in a modern version, I'm not sure, but you can see that this is really good for little kids because it only has a little bit of information and it has a lot of pictures. So this is really great. Here I will show you these we found at a Goodwill outlet. So these were like, I think they're like 89 cents a pound for books there or something. So these are Peterson guides. These are really nifty ones. And if you can see, they have some illustrations, but they also have an identification, like here are the different types of beaks. I don't know if you can see that. So those are really cool to look things up in. But the book that most Charlotte Mason enthusiasts like to use is Anna Botsford Comstock's Handbook of Nature Study. Now you can find this for free online in the public domain on Google Books. You can put that on a Kindle. You don't have to buy the physical book. You can, there's a way to put a PDF on a Kindle. I've done it before. But anyway, so in here, this is just an amazing book. This has poetry. It has all kinds of nifty drawings. It has identifications. It has the life of these creatures. It has an actual curriculum. You could take a chapter in here and just do a full-blown curriculum and have questions and answers and poetry and everything. I mean, it's just really an amazing book. Okay, I think it was written like the early 20s or the late teens. And so you'll find that it's not that modern, but it's still the interest. It's very interesting. So this is definitely, it even goes into meteorology, into weather. So this is something that you can get. It's a very good resource. Also, I like this book. This we found at a thrift, I think it was a library book sale. And we put a cover on it. It's The ABCs of Nature. It's a Reader's Digest book. Okay, so this is a lot like Anna Botsford Comstock's book, only it's more modern and it has pictures and it's fascinating. It's a great resource. We love to look through this. We love to use this as a reference when we are making an entry into our nature notebooks. Now, these I found, you can put a different cover. My children have each done a cover of their own liking. And I found they're sketch diaries, I think, over at Walmart. I think it cost me $2 for this. And my children have taken and made an entry for a day we're on, and they will do a little bit of writing on the page, some watercolors. Here's the dragonfly my daughter saw. Or you can use colored pencils. Here we keep our colored pencils in this Purolene bucket. And of course we like to get the 24, 32 pencil, packs with different colors. But you can do a lot with just red, blue, yellow, and little white and black. One thing we like to do also when we are doing our nature notebooks is we like to have a black pen for outlining. You can see here my daughter has gotten leaf specimens and she has taped them into the book. This is especially good for those who don't feel like drawing or don't feel confident drawing. Another thing you can do is if you are interested, let's say you're interested in, this is a peregrine falcon she drew. Isn't that cool? That was her entry. Well, if your children don't feel confident in drawing, you can go in nature and observe different things, and then you can have your child, find a photograph online, you can print it out and have them cut it and paste it in. That's not cheating. That's fine too. Some kids really hate drawing. My kids pretty much love it. I have a child right now and she's not really into drawing. So we find interesting ways to do that, like the leaf sample or something like that. I will show you, now I've shown you one of my oldest daughter's drawings. Here is something that was done when one of my daughters was like 9 or 10. You can see it's not as intricately done, but it's her own thing. It's what she liked. It's what she did. You can't expect a 5-year-old to draw like a 15-year-old, right? You're going to be patient and understanding and be happy with whatever they give you. Here's another drawing. I guess that was when she was like 8, and this is like when she was 7 or 8. She drew this. So this is our big van, 15-passenger van. Here's the tree. This is her spring day, and she put her van in there. Oh, well, it's her thing, right? One thing I did want to mention is that you don't have to do a notebooking, nature notebook journal entry every day. That kind of burns you out. So if you want to do it once a week, twice a month, once a month, whenever you get to it, that's fine too. It'll still work. It'll still be something special they can look back on. If every once in a while, when mommy's, feeling good and everybody's doing good, to go do this. Here's something she did of some flowers. I don't know if she really observed these flowers. Remember, she's only 8 or so when she did this. But you know what? It's still nature, and she wanted to make a good effort at it. I've seen some of the cutest bugs drawn by 5-year-olds. I mean, their imaginations are so wonderful. And so you could have these for a smaller child. As they grow older, of course, they get better at drawing and better at doing things. This was done, oh, here you go. Here's some cilantro and some silver mount. They call it silver mount, something she found in our nature area. We live next to some nature trails, and we live in the Southwest. So another thing that we did once is we went and we gathered some yucca plants, and my daughter took a yucca plant and she dissected it, and she took the root and she took different parts and she laid it all out and she photographed it. Then we printed those photographs out. She put it on a page, and then she talked about all the different useful parts of the yucca and how it has been used by Native Americans and for different medicinal purposes and different useful purposes. And she was able to, that was her nature study, and that was a lot of fun. Let's see. Here's something that this daughter wrote. Sometimes I just get lost in nature, so I randomly start drawing it. And so these are some things that she drew. And she's really good at art, so this is fun for her. Sometimes what you can do is you can find a poem about nature or some scriptures about nature. Is really great. I do both things. Right here, this was a poem we were doing out in the fields with God. And so I had them copy this poem in here and then draw about it. And so you see this little person sitting in a field with flowers. That's kind of neat. Here are some aspen leaves in the fall that had fallen. Okay, that's pretty cool. Here is a scripture that she copied, and it's not necessarily about nature. It's about the nature man. But she did that. So there's some examples of that. I will show you one more daughter's examples, and so you can see the different ways. I wish I had some of my older son's stuff, but he's an artist, so when he drew moths, it was amazing. We went, oh. But not every child's going to do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, here you go. Here's a poem about the cow, the friendly cow that she did. It was cool. The friendly cow, all red and white, I love with all my heart. She gives me cream with all her might to eat with apple tart. So that's what she did. We see cows around here all the time. You probably do where you live. Okay. Let's see, there's all kinds of stuff. Well, here you go. Here's a watermelon growing in our garden. That's what she put. A lot of fun, huh? Let's go into materials that you can use when you're doing nature notebooking. So we don't want to go to a lot of expense, because remember, these are children, and what they draw today probably will be thrown away tomorrow. No, but you know what? They can get frustrated, and we have to go and redo a page, tear a page out, go to the next page. You don't want to spend a lot of money on especially young children when they're starting out. Well, this right here, I don't know if you can see this sticker. This set of paintbrushes came from Ross Dress for Less, and I just wanted to tell you that Ross Dress for Less, believe it or not, has a lot of art supplies. If you have one in your area, that's a good source for that. I think these were like $4 for some really nice brushes. Okay. Also, I know people want to do watercolors. You want to do watercolors, and you can find, I believe I got these at Walmart, I think, or it might have been the dollar store. I think it was the Dollar Tree. Anyway, this is a really nice little tray of watercolors. I have it, this identifies who it belongs to. But you can see here is a tray of the dry watercolors. And here is a mixing tray so they can mix colors. And that's really neat for kids to do and experiment with. But you could also use this tray when these ran out. You could use this. Now, you can get watercolors in a tube. That's your best bet. Watercolors in a tube. Then you just put a little bit, and they aren't over watery. When you buy these kind of watercolors in a tray for little kids, it's so frustrating because they can't get a good color out of it. It all gets muddy together. It's really a pain, okay? But if you can you can take an old dish from your kitchen or a paper plate and just put a little bit of squeeze from a tube of watercolor and separate them from each other and allow them to dip into that and to mix their colors and do what they need to do. Then you can either take the plate and wash it off and save it for the next time, or you can throw the paper plate away. And it's a much easier way to do it, and it's not as frustrating. People that aren't used to working with different kind of artist mediums, the first thing we want to do is buy those, and I do buy these trays for my kids, but this is for goof off time when they're just experimenting, and I really don't care. If we want to produce something nice, I like to use the tube watercolors. Now here's a little trick maybe you didn't know about. These watercolors can be bought at Walmart for 50 cents a piece about. Okay, and white is important, by the way. You can buy these for like 50 cents a piece, and if you squirt a little on a paper and you mix it with water, it works just like watercolors. Okay, just letting you know. Watercolor in a tube pretty much is this stuff anyway. It might be a little thicker. This is a little thinner, but this will work in a pinch if you want to get your kids watercoloring in their notebooking journals. And this notebooking journal, because the pages are a little thicker, so they will work with watercolors. If you come to the point where you want to do some really quality watercoloring, they have these pads over at the Dollar Tree, and this is actually thicker. It's got a little tooth to it, and for watercoloring, that's best. You need a little bit of tooth. This isn't quality watercolor paper. You aren't going to do a masterpiece, but your children can do a decent watercolor picture on here. You can take this out and you can paste it in this to keep it all together. And this will not bleed through and do all the things that it would naturally happen in a sketchbook when you're doing watercolors. So that's just one option. Like I said before, you want to make sure if you're doing watercolors to have a black pen for outlining. It will define what they've done. It'll make it look so much nicer, and you'll have such a better presentation and something that they'll really be happy with. Because sometimes kids get frustrated with drawing and painting because they just don't have the right tools, and that can be frustrating for anyone. But you can give them the right tools, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. If you like the 50-cent ones here, and these Dollar Tree things, and even Walmart has some cheap good brushes there that you can use. If you want to get something, even for small children, they like to feel like they are doing something important too. If you give them only those flat-headed, I don't know why people do that with little kids. Little kids can handle more than we think. If you give them those flat-headed brushes, they can't make anything nice like they can with this one. See this one? See how thin it is? That's nice. If you teach them to tickle and not to scrub, because they want to say, tickle the paper. See? Tickle the paper. And you know what? Show them how to draw a nice line with some paint. Teach them. Just take a few seconds and teach them. And you know what? They'll be so much happier. And you'll be happier, and everyone will be having a good time. And it won't be a time of frustration. Now, that's for those of us who aren't faint at heart. Sometimes what you want to do, especially if you have a lot of little kids, you might want to hide all the paints. And just stick with colored pencils. I do not suggest that you give them color crayons to do a nature drawing with. They're going to end up frustrated and upset because it doesn't look very nice. But little kids can take a nice colored pencil and do a lot more refinement with a colored pencil than with a huge color crayon. They'll be happier. Now, when they have to color in the big places, show them how to lay the pencil on its side so that you can cover a bigger area faster, because sometimes that's frustrating too. Show them how to do that. Show them how to make lines like this and to fill in bigger areas like this. And that will make them happier too. There are ways we can do this to make everybody happy. Okay, also another little trick for them is to say, listen, draw it lightly in a pencil first, and then you can paint, and then you can use colored pencil. Now, markers are not suggested. I mean, we use them sometimes, okay? But I try to get my children away from markers when we're doing nature notebooking, simply because they bleed through the other side. You can't really do as much as you'd like to if you're using a marker. Now, there are exceptions, like for older children who can handle markers better. I have a daughter that, I mean, markers are her medium, and she's amazing, okay? And I can show you her stuff and it'd be amazing. And it looks like watercolors, okay? But she buys the special ones that are like brush tips and stuff. But, you know, for most kids, markers are very frustrating because you have a lot of really flat color, and it's hard to get in small spaces, and you can't really get a refined look like you'd like. So I just caution you against using markers. Just an idea. Okay, so I hope that I've given you a lot here. Don't think of it like, you can do it this way if you want to. You can say, well, today we're going to go out and we're just going to look for birds. Or today we're going out, we're just looking for leaves. Or today, you can do that. That might help you, especially if you want to focus your kids, but you don't always have to do that. The point is not, I mean, we're so, a lot of us are type A's and we want to produce something. We got to produce something, we got to show something, and sometimes that's important. But for the most part, most of your nature hikes should not have a notebooking page attached. I'm just going to say, most of your nature hikes, you should just be going out there and enjoying and observing. And then every once in a while, then you'll say, okay, today, guys, I want you to know when we're going out, this is what I do anyway. Today, guys, when we're going out, we are going to definitely be doing a notebooking page. So be observant. And sometimes you want to take the books with you with a pencil. And you're going to sit, I mean, we've had the greatest time, especially like in late summer, early fall, just to sit under a tree when it's kind of warm and sketch. And then come home and then add all the color you want. That's one way you can do this, okay? If you can see, this is one of those sketches that was done when we were actually sitting there by my daughter. That's neat, isn't it? So there's times when you want to do that. You definitely want to sit and be sketching. There are other times when you'll notice, like a bird or something, you'll come home and you'll actually like go online and get a picture and draw from the picture or something. Because you can't always just sit there and capture that. Sometimes I'll take a picture with my phone and we'll go home and we'll put it on the big screen in the TV and we'll draw from the TV. That's fun too. Okay, so just a whole bunch of ideas, but please don't feel pressured by this. When we do those big things with the TV or the sketching, that's like when we're in that season, or it's a special thing we do. It's not every day. I don't try to fit everything in every day. I would go crazy. I would not have any hair, or my hair would be totally white. I have 15 children, remember, 15 of them. That means that I have to figure out how all of them would have to be doing the same thing all the time. I can't do it, can't do it. Okay, I'm a realist. And God understands. He works it all out for me. I just trust him and just do the next thing. Okay, so I hope you're having fun. I hope this is fun for you. I hope this is exciting to you now. We're in the winter months. So yeah, you can still sketch in the winter months. Winter trees are fun. There are different things you can do, but if you don't get to it in the winter months, that's okay. Just stick to your reading and writing. Wait till spring comes around and everything starts waking up. That's when it gets real exciting. Okay, so I hope this helps you and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.